What's up, everybody? So, I've been thinking about something these last couple of days, especially in the light of Snow White and just how indicative of it is of what Disney has done to just about anything that people of my generation and prior have grown up on and loved. I mean, the live action movies of Disney, they just change them up to a point where they're unrecognizable and just lose all of the magic that was somewhere in there in the animated versions of them. Marvel is basically just grasping at straws, trying to do the Blues Brothers thing, like get the band back together, and hopefully that will reignite the magic that it created, between 2008 and 2018. And of course, everything that's happened with the Star Wars franchise. I mean, it's all basically been destroyed at this point. It's just been burnt to the ground in a variety of different ways. And any original programming is basically been left up to the streaming platforms to do, and they kind of get lost in the shuffle. And there are a handful of really, really cool and interesting movies that are going on, but there's just so much that nobody, it doesn't get the attention that it would have if that particular movie came out in the 90s or maybe even the early 2000s. So my thought is, what is the next thing? What is the next kind of IP pieces of property that Hollywood is going to latch on to and at first build up to hopefully be, as impressive, as many things Hollywood has done in the past, have achieved. And then eventually, most likely, they'll burn it to the ground again, but it'll be an interesting ride on the way up there. And for my money and my read of the land, I think that's going to be video game adaptations into film and TV series. You can kind of see some inklings of that, with The Last of Us, with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, which, look, it's nothing mind-blowing about those movies, but they're decent. They're pretty fun. But if you think about it, even if you just do a Google search, the video game industry at the end of 2023, it is slightly less than $400 billion that it generates. And there are already calculations going on that by the end of 2025, it's going to be a little over $500 billion. So this industry really, if you think about it, dwarfs Hollywood. And so I know there's going to be some people somewhere in Hollywood that is going to see this and then, really try and latch onto this. And I know that there have been some really, really subpar video game adaptations over the last 20 plus years or so. But also, that happened with the comic book industry as well. I mean, just look at the very, very first Captain America movie that was made, or the first Punisher movie that was made. Or you can even find clips of the Fantastic Four movie that was made but was never released. I mean, if you search enough on the internet, you can find something, and it looks terrible. You understand why it was never released. So there's been a lot of misses here and there in the comic book industry, and then finally Kevin Feige comes around, and even before then, Avi Arad was producing some really cool things. But Kevin Feige is like the guy that was able to put all of that together and turn it into something special. And so it begs, the question of who's going to be the guy, who's going to be the Kevin Feige that's going to look at some of the popular video games and then turn that into something that can generate as much buzz and attention and money as Marvel did at one point. And you can see inklings of that. It's like, I think it was in 2023, Super Mario Brothers was huge. It was absolutely huge. I think it was number 3 that year behind Barbie and Oppenheimer. And so there are some things in the pipeline that point to that direction. Most specifically, there's one movie that I don't know if it's gonna get made, but being, a kid in the 80s with all those ninja movies like Shinobi is, being looked at and is kind of in a one stage of development. I couldn't find out which one exactly, but that would be cool. And there are many, many other games I think that could be turned into something interesting. Hopefully just not the Lara Croft movies that with Angelina Jolie that came out in the early 2000s. But I think with everything kind of being left to the embers of the LA fires, specifically Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney, I think it just leaves space for something brand new. And instead of them putting all of their money and resources into reviving something, I think somebody who's smart enough and creative enough is going to look to the video game industry and say, that's our next cash cow. Let's put all our chips in that department and see what happens, and hopefully make as much or even more money than we had with Marvel. Let's see what happens. What about you guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, give me a follow, and I'll see you guys next time.